Okay, so it is day 44, and today was the last. If you've been watching this series, today was the last day of, um, let's call it plan. We can call it procrastination to an extent, but it's more plan, right? And if you haven't been watching the last few days, basically what I'm doing the next up until Christmas, up until the 22nd. The 22nd is the last day. 23rd, I then go down to Exeter for Christmas. No one cares, but I'm just saying. Until that day, I'm locked in. I'm in so-called monk mode, right? Quote unquote monk mode, which entails staying strict to a schedule, staying disciplined, and also allowing you guys to keep me held accountable for everything I do. The reason I'm doing this is because I have been productive the last few weeks, but I know I can be 10 times better, and I know how fulfilling it is when you do that. Even if it doesn't feel great at the time, when you finish it and you sit down at the end of the day and you assess your day and you think about what you've done that day, you're like, okay, you just feel good about yourself. Whereas if you're sat there doing shit all day, doing nothing, eating shit, watching shit, playing games, whatever, if you do that all day, the whole day, you just feel like shit. When that time comes and you're lying in bed, you're like, fuck man, I'm just wasting my life away. So it's kind of the plan, because I've got this series and I've got a goal of what I need to get to, and if I want to get to the goal, I've got to fucking get my head down. So that's what I'm doing. Simple as that. But yeah, there's a few things I kind of want to say. First things first, I think what isn't talked about enough is removing as much friction as possible. So by friction, I mean stuff that stops you from getting to the task, right? So think of it like this. An easy example, you have a gym. You want to go to the gym. You want to start going to the gym. Now, you've got a gym. Your closest gym is a 20-minute drive away. Although you can do that, and it's possible for you to go there every day if you made the time for it. But there's so much friction between you and going to the gym that if you had a gym in your garage, you're going to start going to the gym much easier, a lot, purely because it's so easy to access, because there's no friction there. Now, this is a pretty extreme example, because I'm not expecting everyone to get a fucking home gym. I'm not going to get a home gym because there's one that I can walk to. But it's just an example of what friction is. It's making a thing as easy as possible to actually go and do. Same applies to whatever bit of work it is. Just making it as easy as possible to actually pull through and do that thing, rather than making it as hard as possible. Oh, I've got to do this and then this and then this and that, and then I can do that. Just like making it frictionless, making it as easy as possible. So I can't. Right now, I'm just trying to not be bored, like not keep my video boring, and actually come up with an example of like an example you can use. But if I sit here and think about it, my video is just gonna get boring. I'm just gonna be sat in silence like until I get it. So I think you get the idea. Just making it as easy as possible to do the task that you need to do. Otherwise, if there's a load of friction around it, it's gonna be so hard. Like maybe you'll do it once, but it's gonna be so hard to keep it consistent doing that every day. So yeah, there's that. It's basically removing friction, removing anything that makes it harder for you to do a task. Basically, you want to make your task as easy as possible to start and to do. And to do your task, I think the best way of doing it is the hardest part is getting over that initial wall of resistance to go and do it. But once you start doing it, it's with almost everything, it's never as bad as you have made it out to be in your head. Like if you can just say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna go and write for 30 seconds. That's it. It sounds like such an easy task. There's zero friction here. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna go write for 30 seconds. I'm done. But once you start writing, and you're like 20 seconds in, 30 seconds in, or maybe you can do 5 minutes or whatever. You get 30 seconds in, you're like, okay, this isn't actually that bad, and then you just keep going, and you start to enter the flow state to which you can just keep writing and writing and writing and writing. And I'm sure so many of you can kind of relate to this. It's so easy to kind of do something once you've started it, right? Whereas if you're stagnant and not doing anything, and you have to go and do this big task that you've made out to be massive in your head, like this massive essay you've been putting off for the last like 3-4 weeks that you've got to hand in next week or tomorrow or whatever, it's like, oh, holy shit, this is massive, I can't be asked to do this. Whereas if you don't make such a big thing of it in your head, and you kind of just start it, or even do a bit of it, or just make it easy, like, okay, right, I'm just gonna write one sentence for my essay. I'm just gonna write one sentence. Once you finish that one sentence, you're like, okay, this isn't actually that bad, and you just keep writing most of the time. So I think that's a very good productivity hack, and I think that's also a pretty good way mentally to make stuff somewhat frictionless. Now, tomorrow my schedule is, I'm waking up at 6 a.m. It is currently 10 o'clock, so 10:23 to be exact. I did wake up pretty late today, so I've still, if I went to bed right now, I'd have 7 hours and 36 minutes of sleep, which isn't bad. But yeah, obviously I want 8 is the optimal amount, but we're gonna have to do what we can do. And yeah, the more I stick to this, the easier it's gonna get, because my circadian rhythm's gonna reset itself after like 7 to 10 days, even 2 weeks, depends how I'm feeling. But yeah, it's a case of staying consistent with it, right? So that's basically the plan. Just to run you through everything, I have my non-negotiables, which I have to do every day. It's outreach, posting on TikTok, gym, and walk the dog. Obviously, I'm not going to go to the gym every day. Some people will say there's no rest days, don't have a rest day. I'll miss the gym like once or twice a week, depends on whatever. Also, I play tennis as well, so that kind of I have to kind of integrate that to it. So maybe that's basically rest day, like that's cardio, that's not weight resistance training. So yeah, I have non-negotiables, which if I'm ever sat here like mindlessly, if I find myself mindlessly doing stuff and you're in that hole of what the fuck am I going to do, and you just keep scrolling because you're like, what else am I going to be fucking doing, and you just kind of avoid that thought of like, what else am I doing. Whereas if you were to stop doing that and you just kind of like stared there for a second, like, oh shit, I should be doing this, rather than having to go through that friction of stopping, thinking about what you're going to do and then doing it, I've got non-negotiables which I can always just do straight off the bat. And they're right in front of me on this thing, which is homemade. I cut down a tree to put this thing, and then the paper goes in there, basically. You get the idea, but yeah, the paper goes in there, and then yeah. So there's stuff like that. There's little hacks, right? And I'm not going to sit here and be the next Ali Abdaal. I'll be like, do this. Oh, you need to brush your teeth at the start of the day, and then you need to do this, and then you need to have a cold shower, and then you need to go in a cold ice bath and shit. But I think it's the 20% of things bring 80% of the results. It's the 80-20 rule. And I've kind of realized what those things are. Obviously, it's the gym, and then there's outreach, there's TikTok posts, there's obviously the mandatory things that I've got to do to kind of like move myself forward. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing that for the rest of my life. So there's other things like I've got to integrate reading into this thing of certain books and whatever it is. I'm going to integrate the gym, as I say. And then obviously family time or whatever it is, right? I'm not going to be an absolute machine 16 hours a day and completely disregard anyone around me. But what I am going to do is eliminate as many distractions as possible that don't move me forward. Now, I guess I'm to an extent going somewhat cold turkey, but at the same time, I'll allow myself a bit of leeway for certain things. Like maybe I'll I don't know, play video games for like an hour, 2 hours max. But I'm not going to sit there and play 8 hours a day. But at the end of the day, if I've worked since 6 a.m., which every day I'm waking up at, and I'm finished, and I've done a shit ton of work by the time it gets to like 5, 6, 7, I don't have to go to bed until 10 to get 8 hours of sleep. And if I've had dinner at that point, obviously I can have a bit of downtime. If I want to play games at some point, I can. So I'm not completely going cold turkey, like disregarding everything, but I am doing a dopamine detox, and I know that kind of contradicts myself, because why would you be doing a dopamine detox and then playing video games? I don't play video games much, but sometimes it's like all of my friends at uni, I'm currently living on my own, so I don't have many kind of like social interactions, if you want to put it like that. Yes, I have tennis, but that's kind of it. So it's nice to like game because someone to kind of talk to and just kind of relax a bit. So yeah, I do that, but only intentionally, and that's the key. It's doing it intentionally. If you're using it as a distraction and to take away from your work when you should be doing work, then it's a whole different conversation. But yeah, it's realizing what your distractions are and what the things are that make you procrastinate from what you're doing, and then eliminating them as best you can. So for me, it's Instagram. That's just like I feel the need to always check that for some reason. Same goes for Twitter. Those are the two main ones. And then I don't use Snapchat, so I'm just thinking of social medias. TikTok, that's a big one because I'm posting on TikTok, and it's so easy to fall into the hole of looking at TikTok when you're intentionally trying to post on there, because you get stuck in the hole when you're posting. So yeah, it's realizing what the distractions are. I'm gonna write exactly what the distractions are in this big book I've got of this whole plan I'm doing of this like session. I know it sounds a bit triad. I know it sounds a bit like, nah, this guy's the biggest bum ever. Why is he doing all this shit? I understand it. I understand why I probably sound like a massive geek. I understand that. I mean, I am wearing a bobble hat inside, so that makes sense. But yeah, I'll just write all of my main distractions on here, and then I know when I go to do it, it's like, rather than just kind of mindlessly consuming, I can be intentional and be like, okay, this is a distraction. I never get anything productive from this. Why am I doing this thing? And then I can eliminate it straight away. But the thing with dopamine detox is obviously you want to do it for an extended period of time, because, for example, if you're a fat guy who's always ate like shit for his whole life. This is how people think of the dopamine detox. They're going to do a 24-hour fast of dopamine. They don't have any dopamine, and then the next day they're going to be like, okay, I'm not doing the fast anymore. I'm off. Okay, my dopamine receptors are reset. I'm feeling good now. It doesn't work like that. If you're a fat shit that's ate shit for their whole life, and then they're like, you know what? Today I'm going to eat clean. I'm just going to have whatever, greens, fruits, meat, whatever it is, and then tomorrow I'm gonna be better because I've stopped eating shit. It don't work like that. They're still gonna eat like shit the day after. It's got to be an extended thing, and you've got to be intentional with it. You've got to have the temptation in front of your face to actually ingrain the subconscious habit of not using that thing. Like, for example, I have Twitter on my tabs, or I have Twitter when I go on my phone. It's like an app, right? Obviously, I don't have a whole home screen. Like, my home screen's like nothing. It's just a picture of Chicago. But like here, obviously, when I'm scrolling across, I've got all the stuff that I've got downloaded on my phone. So my chair's so squeaky. Sorry. So I see those things, and yes, I'm gonna have the instinct to go on it. Yes, I'm gonna feel like I need to go on it. But I know, because I've done this writing, I know that it doesn't bring me any value. So why do I need to go on it? And it's facing that thought of like, okay, my brain is telling me I really want to go on this, but I know I shouldn't. And it's facing it every single day, and if you keep doing that, you're gonna get rid of the habit after a certain period of time. So it's just keep facing it. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, it's basically just being intentional, doing productive things, minimizing dopamine as much as I can, and going full cold turkey to an extent. Obviously, using my time intentionally. As I say, I'm still going to be playing games now and then, doing some stuff, just for a clean state of mind. But if I'm waking up at 6 a.m. and I'm working all day, or just at least hustling and doing productive stuff all day, I'm allowed that. I think I've earned that bit of freedom in the evening. And I know it's the same kind of principle of someone working a 9 to 5. I guess that probably is the case. But the difference between working the 9 to 5 and me working like I am, first of all, I'm not working from 9. I'm working from 6 because I'd have to travel into work. And then I'm working for myself, to which the amount of effort I put in is the amount of leverage and gain I get back, and value I get back. So I'm working a lot harder, and the things that I'm doing, I'm going to be doing to an absolute maximum, purely because I get value from it. Whereas if you're working a 9 to 5, regardless of how much effort you put in, you're still going to get the same amount of pay every day. And yes, you might get a little promotion of $2 an hour, $1 an hour, but at the end of the day, it's not worth going all out every day. It's like, if I was working a 9 to 5 job, it's most of the time, unless it's like a company I'm really passionate about, whatever, and I get gain from. Most people go to the 9 to 5 job, they do the bare minimum because they don't get any gain from doing any more than that. They do the bare minimum to not get fired, which is sad, but it's the truth. So it's important to add incentive, and the incentive, because I'm working for myself and bringing value to my own table, is more than that. So it's just the case of doing that. And if I'm working 12 hours, 6 till 7, 6 a.m. until 7 p.m, 8 p.m, whatever, I'm doing 12, 13, 14 hour days. Like, obviously the gym is included in that. I'm also going to be reading and stuff, so it's not all work related, but in the grand scheme of things, it is. I'm improving my body, I'm improving my mind, I'm improving my health, I'm learning things, I'm educating my things. And again, I could keep going on for so long. I'm so good at talking. I think this is why it's a good thing that I've done this series, because I could just keep looping on to different topics. But I think a lot of people finish school and then they stop educating themselves, unless they get it from TikTok, because obviously that's easy to consume and that's why it's so addicting. People don't educate themselves intentionally, unless you really want to learn about a topic that you're really passionate about. Most people just kind of disregard education. They're like, okay, I finished school, I've stopped educating myself. And there was a quote that I read a while back, I can't remember what it is, but it's about how people just die as soon as they finish school, in terms of like, that's that. They don't learn anything else. Like, obviously they learn from experiences, but they don't teach themselves stuff. So it's important to kind of take time to intentionally learn stuff, and especially with books. I think books are disregarded a lot by people my age, because books have been the most valuable thing that I have ever done, like read and come across in my life. Obviously, it's the most valuable thing I've read, because there's not much things that you read that aren't books. But I wouldn't be able to record these videos in such depth that I am if I hadn't read about 80, 90, 100 finance, business, self-help, whatever books in the last like 4 years. So yeah, I think if these tips are valuable to you, and I'm providing value from this stuff that I'm talking about, I more than recommend reading books, purely because, as I say, I wouldn't be able to talk like this if I hadn't read books in the past, and I still read them now, obviously. So they have obviously brought me value, so they'll do the same for you. So find some stuff that you're interested in, find some stuff that you feel like you want to learn about, or even just some recommendations to get the ball rolling. Don't set yourself limits and be like, okay, I'm going to start reading 50 pages a day off the bat, because it's not going to work. You need to start small. Maybe read 5 pages a day, 10 pages a day, whatever. Start small, ingrain it as a habit, and then you can slowly build up. Because if you just start and go from 0 to 100, more than likely it's not going to work. Most people will then hear that I've just said that and be like, this guy's fucking starting waking up at 6 a.m. He's doing this shit, that thing is doing this thing and that thing. I think it's different because you guys are holding me accountable, whereas if you're reading a book, it's just yourself holding you accountable. And so many people find it so easy to lie to themselves, as do I. Like 99% of people find it just so easy to lie to themselves, because there's no knock-on effects to it. Obviously, there's knock-on effects further down the line, but there's no initial hit to the face when you don't do something, because it's down to your own promises, and most of the time it's to move you forward. So yes, it hurts you down the line. Yes, you're not going to be as productive. Yes, you may not achieve the goals that you want to achieve, but it doesn't stay you in the face. It's not obvious, right? So it's just easy to lie to yourself. Whereas if you're trying to lie to a boss, obviously he gets straight in your ass straight away. So you wouldn't lie to your boss. You get the stuff done, and if you don't get it done, you're incredibly sorry to him. And I think it's quite sad, because the things that you promise yourself are a lot more important than you're ever going to promise a boss. But because you allow yourself off the hook so easily, because it's you against yourself, that's why so many people fuck up, man. So yeah, it's you holding me accountable as well as myself. If I want to lose credibility and look like an absolute dick, and just look like a guy that's going to just lose all respect that anyone from watching these videos has got for me, then cool. I could say I'm about to do all this shit coming tomorrow, and I just fall off a cliff straight away. So it's about being consistent and doing the best I can. And the best way of doing that is eliminating the distractions and then focusing on the things that actually move me forward. I also think it's somewhat attractive what I'm doing. Like, I think it to be somewhat attractive. I can't wait to put myself through all this pain to do all this stuff and be disciplined. And rather than watching YouTube videos, I have to go and walk the dog. I have to go and do this. I have to go and look at spreadsheets. I have to go and send emails. I have to go and do the boring stuff. But the more I do it, it's going to get easier. And I just know that. I've just got to know that. It's like yesterday, I really didn't want to record that video. I was literally asleep on my bed. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to get up, I'm going to turn my PC on. I know it's not too hard. Obviously, all I've got to do is get off my bed, sit in a chair and talk to a camera. But when you're in that state, it's the same state as when you wake up out of, like, in the morning. And you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. And there's two minds. There's your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, well, both of your minds are kind of telling you that you want to stay in bed, but you also have that niggle in your head that you want to get up. You know you need to get up. You know you need to get up and do stuff. You know you need to achieve your goals. But because it's so comfortable in your bed, and that's why it's so comfortable in your bed, you don't want to get up. And that's why the comfort zone is such a dangerous thing, because I think people just get stuck in their comfort zone, as have I the last few years, because I'm in such a privileged position as I am. That I have, if everything went to zero, I'd be fine. Like, obviously I'd worry about stuff, but in terms of state of living, I wouldn't be able to go on as many trips as I go on. I wouldn't be able to do a few things, but on the whole, I'm not going to be homeless. So that's the problem. It's a comfort zone, and you need to leave that comfort zone. And to leave that comfort zone, you need to get You need to get accustomed to doing hard things. And that's the plan. Like, I'm going to be doing these tasks. I'm going to know how fucking difficult they are, how much I want to quit, how much I want to go and watch YouTube, how much I want to just do whatever to escape the hardship of whatever it is I'm doing. But when that moment comes, the same as when I was on the bed, you're like, okay, this is when most people quit, and this is why most people aren't successful, and this is why most people have dreams and they never achieve them because they quit when they get to moments like this. And that's why I'm not gonna fucking quit. And you just go from there, man. Simple as that. It's literally as simple as that. You've just got to fucking do what you say you're gonna do and do it. Yeah. People, I said this analogy in a video a while back, or a few days ago, but I know a lot of people don't watch every video, so I'll say it again. I tweeted it, in fact. I'm gonna read the tweet just so I don't get it wrong. Bear with me. This is probably like, yeah. This was like proper valuable. 90% of podcasts, 90%. Fuck, I can't talk. 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3, and of the 10% that do, 90% don't make it past episode 20. So, by making 21 podcasts, you're in the top percentile of all podcasters ever. That is what hard feels like, and it's not. It's really not even hard. The bar is so low, it is so easy to win. This is your competition, you just need to stay consistent. So, yeah, it's the same thing, it's what I just said. People say they're going to do something. They do it, they see minimal gain from it. They'll upload a podcast, it won't get many views, and they'll upload 3, and it's like, okay, this isn't popping off, why isn't it popping off? And then they'll quit. So, and that happens all the way up from episode 4, 5, 6, and people keep quitting 4, 5, 6, and then it gets to episode 20. 99% of people have quit, and then 90% of people have quit, and then 99% of people quit. Sorry, and then 10%, 1% still exist. To which the reason they've done that is because it's got hard and they've quit. So if you can just stay consistent for an extended period of time and realize why you're doing what you're doing and what the end goal is, and have that very, very, very clear in your mind, almost see it as a vision. You know exactly what it feels like. You know exactly what it feels like when you accomplish your dreams. You know exactly what it feels like when you buy that thing for your mum. You know exactly what it feels like when you buy that new house, when you do whatever it is that you dream of doing. You know exactly what it feels like. And then you've got to think to yourself, is it worth me putting in the hours to get that feeling, to get to that place? Most of the time the answer will be yes. To which then you understand what it is you're going for, and you understand why you're doing what you're doing. And you need to keep reminding yourself of that, but also understand, as I said before, when it gets hard, that is when 99% of people quit, and that is why 99% of people aren't successful. So yes, the competition is so low, but your competition isn't other people. You don't want to look at other people. You want to look at yourself, because yourself is your biggest competition. You've got to fight yourself, because there's going to be so many voices in your head saying, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, no, I really don't want to do this. But you've just got to say, I'm going to fucking do it, because I don't care, because I know that is when most people quit, and that is why those people aren't going to be successful, and those people aren't successful. And if I act like those people who aren't successful, I'm not going to be successful. Simple as that. So when it gets hard, you've got to realize that is what hard feels like. And when it gets hard, if you can pull through being hard enough times for an extended period of time and being consistent with it, you're just going to be successful. It's simple as that, because most people quit. And if you absolutely try your best, as a few people have said, I'm not going to name names, if you try your absolute best, you're going to get to where you want to get to. Simple as that. So that is my plan. I know it's going to be fucking hard. I know I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. a lot of mornings, and I'm going to be like, no, I don't want to fucking get out of bed, but I've just got to fucking do it. I know there's going to come moments where I'm like, oh, I really don't want to send these 50 more emails. I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to write this script. I really don't want to post this. I don't want to do this. But I'm just going to be like, okay, fine. You can be a bitch, or you can man the fuck up and do what 99% of people don't do, and be different to them and achieve the things that they wanted to but didn't, because they quit at the same hurdle that you're at right now. So you've got to overcome that hurdle and move. And that is my philosophy. So I know it's going to get hard, and I know the hardest part of all of this for me personally is getting out of bed. at the specific time that I said. It's the hardest part because your body is completely like fully fighting you, and it's so easy to just stay asleep, especially when you're keeping a promise to yourself and you don't have to be at a certain place at that time for someone else. It's just down to yourself. That's the hardest part because it's so comfort zone, and that is so comforting, and that is the epitome of comfort zone, your bed. If you can't quit that, then get out of that. I think you're going to struggle with a lot of other things, but that is the hardest. That is as hard as it gets to almost leave your comfort zone. Obviously, there's exceptions like swimming with sharks and stuff if you hate sharks, but on the whole, getting out of bed is very hard because. Just the last thing I'll say. Everyone has that 3 a.m. motivation. They're awake at 3 a.m. They've just finished playing games, whatever it is. They realize that their life is shit. They're not doing anything with their life. They're like, fuck it, I'm a new man now. They set all these goals. They're like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do this. 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 They wake up in the morning, and because their bed is so comfortable and they've lost that motivation, it all goes out the window and they're back to square one again. So I really could go on to another topic here. I'll briefly tap into it. Motivation isn't a good enough driver. Yes, there is. It's good to an extent, but the best driver is knowing what your goal is and staying disciplined to that goal. Because motivation doesn't last forever. It fizzles out pretty quickly. Whereas discipline, it's hard initially, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. To which that fire you almost stoke the fire. It gets hotter and hotter and hotter the more you do discipline, because the easier it gets to do the hard things, and then you're just going to get better and better. It's just going exponential growth the more you do the hard things. So anyway, that's the last thing I'll say. I'm thinking out loud. Obviously, I'm not perfect, but my intention with this thing that I've just said I'm going to do is to get closer to the person that I want to be, the person that I aspire to be, the person that my kid self wanted to be, and basically do that. So I don't think there's much more I need to say. I just say that I am going to be posting 2 community posts every day now. One at 6 a.m. to prove that I've woken up at 6 a.m. It's not going to say 6 a.m. most of the time. It might say 6:01, 6:02, 6:03, 6:04, 6:05. As long as it's under 6:10, I'm happy, whatever. And there's that. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to have a to-do list of everything I've done, which keeps me accountable to procrastinating. And if I've done nothing that day, I'm then going to go onto my community post at the end of the day, and people are like, what the fuck is this guy doing? This guy's saying all this shit on his videos, but he's not backing it. He's doing too much walking and not enough talking. No, he's doing too much talking and not enough walking, which funnily enough is the name of my newsletter. So if you want to subscribe to that, which I will be doing in this new series, I'll be posting more. I think I've got like 10 newsletters. I've got a lot of blog posts I still haven't actually posted, so I could post them, whatever. But yeah, you can check that out. Link is in the description. Also, my other social medias are in the description, so I'd appreciate if you check them out. But regardless, feel free to like the video and subscribe if you want to. If you don't, I'm really I don't mind, but I appreciate you for watching this if you've got this far. Anyway, because if you have got this far, you're better than most people, man. Because most people have got fucked dopamine receptors and they quit after the slight bit of boredom. Like they've got zero attention span. They could not sit here and watch me talk to a camera for 28 minutes and 40 seconds. They're gone. So if you're still watching, you're a fucking legend, man. I appreciate you so much, and thank you for watching. It's day 44. I think it's day 44. Day 45 tomorrow, and this is when it gets tough. But this is when the pussies and the gladiators are decided, and I've just got to stick to my word. Simple as that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Really appreciate everyone that watches these videos. Fucking incredible. I think I've got like 35 subscribers today. It's mental. I never thought I'd be getting this growth, but you know, yeah, it's crazy. I can't put into words, but I just appreciate it so much. It's so good to see, and I appreciate all your comments and everything. So I say this every video. I feel like I need to stop talking. I'm just keep rambling on. Thank you for watching. I'm not going to talk anymore, I promise. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night. Cheers. Thank you.